Hello everyone, my name is Pinky Leah and welcome back to Blooming Nightshade. We just got done with that Atsuko's route and I think Kiku was next. I just want to click load first. Atsuko? Yeah, Kiku. And then Shuri, and then we're done! But let's go to Kiku, I guess. Week 5. I decided to go listen to the music club perform. Unfortunately, I got the time wrong and missed most of their practice. Big oof. Despite that, Kiku stayed behind after the meeting in order to play for me. You really don't have to. It's fine, Himika. I'd have done some more practice anyway. She took what looked like a guitar out of storage and sat down, picking at the strings as if testing it. It didn't sound like any guitar I was familiar with, and it was yet another instrument Kiku could play. What is that? This? It's a Spanish guitar. You've never heard one before? She played a tune on the guitar, but it still didn't sound like something I knew. I suppose I have the honor of introducing you then. Continuing to play, Kiku closed her eyes. She looked like she was in a trance, letting the music flow from her. As soon as the music stopped, however, she went back to looking like a kid in her big sister's clothes. She smiled at me. How was it? You're really cool when you play music. You'll embarrass me with flattery like that. Kiku grinned, playing with her hair. Anyway, that will probably be all for today. I need to make sure everything is in order before I go. I'll get out of your way then. Leaving the clubroom, I thought of the sight of Kiku in her trance. I might need to see her play again. Week 6. I went to watch the music club practice again, making sure to get there at the right time. I tried to listen to some of the other members, but Kiku managed to outshine them all. No wonder she was the club president. She probably taught half of these students. When the club was dismissed, I helped to put some of the instruments away. Are you any more interested in joining our club now, Himika? I don't know if I'd be good at learning an instrument. I'd love to watch you play more, though. Kiku gave a light chuckle. You seem to be quite taken with my performance. It's just, you're so good at all these instruments. Kiku shrugged. I grew up as an only child. Since my parents didn't pay much attention to me, I had to do something with my time. For me, that happened to be music. I suddenly wondered if Kiku had been lonely, playing music all on her own. Still, it's amazing that she taught herself so much. Can I keep listening to you practice? Kiku considered this for a moment, making her look closer to her actual age. I suppose it can't hurt. Maybe you can help me improve. Me? Improve her? Unlikely. I'll let you know when I'll be practicing. You just tell me when you're free. Okay. I smiled as I left the clubroom, thinking of what sort of music Kiku might play for me. Week 7. I was on my way to the bathroom when I heard someone call out to me. Turning around, I saw Kiku jogging over to me. Hey, Himika, can I ask a favor? What do you need? Kiku held up a few folded sheets of paper. There's a volleyball match coming up soon, and I wanted to ask Izumi about having the music club play during the break. Isn't that something the teachers would have to approve? You'd think, right? But the club advisor told me to ask Izumi about it. I guess she's worried about upsetting the volleyball team if we go over their head for permission. Trying to figure out what the teachers and staff were trying to do here just made me confused. Well, right now Izumi is probably at practice, actually. Oh, that's convenient. I'll check the fields then. Thanks, Himika. See you later. I waved at Kiku as she left. Hopefully things worked out for her. I doubted that Izumi or the volleyball team would turn her down, though. Week 8. Still the fastest weeks ever. While I was making my way to the dining hall, I saw Kiku and Atsuko talking in the hallway. Curious, I headed over to where they were standing. I won't force you to make a decision right now, but I still think you should consider. I'm not good with any instruments. That's fine. I or one of the others could spend some time teaching you. In fact, the club could use a new member for that reason. I want some of these girls to learn how to teach their skills to others. When they noticed me listening, Kiku smiled and waved to me. Atsuko frowned. Are you sulking about, Himika? Huh? No. Whoa, glitchy there. Atsuko sighed and turned back to Kiku. Ignoring the interruption, would you make sure whoever was teaching me did it right? I don't want to be some experiment or pet project. Of course, I want everyone to be able to thrive. If you joined, I'd make sure you were taught right. Atsuko rubbed her chin in thought. She shot a look over at me. Maybe I'll consider it. Ask me again when we aren't being watched. Take your time deciding. Don't feel rushed, okay? Very well. Kiku waved goodbye to both Atsuko and me. Atsuko frowned at me before walking away. Maybe I shouldn't have interrupted them. Would Atsuko have just agreed if I hadn't been there? Week 9. Kiku told me she was going to be practicing today, so I headed over to her room. She was testing the strings on a harp when I got there, and she grinned at me. I don't get to use this often, so let's see how well I remember it. You know how to play the harp? I wondered if I should even be surprised at this point. I had tried it a bit, years ago, but I've not played it much recently. Better brace your ears, just in case. Despite the warning, only beautiful sounds came from the harp as Kiku started to pluck it. After getting into a flow, Kiku's eyes seemed to half close as she entered her musical trance. I could look at that face forever. Something about that face and the music Kiku was playing was mesmerizing. She started to hum softly, which startled me at first, but then I was drawn in even more by her spell. Minutes must have passed, but I could barely notice. I was too focused on listening to Kiku's music and watching her face. When she stopped playing, I felt like an emptiness had opened inside me. Well, do I still have it? I'd say you do, or wait, don't stop. I'm just gonna be like, I'd say you do. Aw, Kiku's friend! I think I messed up the road already, but we'll see. Yeah, I couldn't hope to ever be that good. Don't doubt yourself so much, but I appreciate the sentiment. Kiku smiled at the harp. I'm glad I didn't forget how to play. My mom loves the harp. Anyway, thanks for coming over. I'll let you know if I need your ear again. I look forward to it. The music played again in my head as I went back to my room. I hoped I could hear it again sometime. And I really hope I didn't mess up the romantic route there. I don't remember if I've gotten a friend achievement before. But week 10, I guess we'll see. I went to Kiku's room on the day she suggested, but when I got there, she looked really tired. Oh, we were doing that today. Sorry, I had to stay up last night for the club. Are you okay? Yeah, but I don't know if I can play anything right now. Maybe next time, okay? She gave an apologetic smile that looked heartbreaking on her youthful face. Are you well enough to talk for a bit at least? Kiku tilted her head at me. About what? I don't know, just about how things have been going, I guess? I'm not sure what we could talk about. I thought you mostly spent time with me to hear me play. With me being too tired to play today, there's not much for you here right now. I suddenly felt worried for her, and worried that I was being a nuisance. Did it really seem like I only cared about her music? There's more to you than your music. We're friends, aren't we? I'd be a bad friend if I only cared about your music. Kiku seemed surprised for a moment, then looked serious. It was the face that made her look her age. I'm sorry. I guess I was projecting my expectations into you. A lot of people only really care about how talented I am with music. I guess I assumed too much about you. Maybe I should get to know you better as a friend and not just one of my fans. I can leave if you're too tired. Don't force yourself. It's fine. I can talk for a few minutes. Okay. Well, what about classes? What sort of things are you good at with schoolwork? We talked about minor things for a while. Kiku wasn't good at small talk, but I guess that had never been expected of her before. Even so, I did manage to get Kiku to open up a bit about things like her grades, but it seemed like she really had devoted most of her life to learning music. When I let her get some rest, I felt like I knew Kiku a little better. Week 11. I met up with Kiku after classes were over for the day. We were planning to go over some homework together before she played some music for me. However, something we saw on the way made us need to a stop. A bunch of girls had cornered Atsuko and seemed to be preventing her from leaving. I recognize one of those girls. Give me a moment, Himika. I'll be right behind you if you need help. Let me talk first. I think I can handle this. We got closer and I started to make out some of the whispered insults the girls were directing at Atsuko. One of the girls called Atsuko Triclops, which took me a few seconds to figure out. If any of you had a third eye, maybe you'd be able to see how dumb this whole situation is. I almost chuckled when I heard Atsuko's response. I couldn't imagine any high school bullies being as enlightened as a Hindu deity. Deity? I don't know. Still, the bullies weren't letting Atsuko go. Kiku stepped forward, tapping one of the girls on the shoulder. Miyu, could you and your friends come with me for a second? The girl that Kiku had addressed jumped and turned, her face going pale. Within seconds, the girls had followed Kiku a little bit down the hallway. With the bullies pulled away, Atsuko stepped away from the wall. For a third year, she looks pretty young. I'm surprised they take her so seriously. Well, she can be serious when she needs to be, and I think one of those girls is in the music club. I'm less interested in joining if she'll be there. Don't worry, I'm sure Kiku will make sure she stops, whether or not you join. Don't change your mind because of some bully. We'll see. Atsuko turned and left. I looked over at Kiku, who seemed to be wrapping up whatever she was telling the bullies. When Kiku returned to me, she let out a deep sigh. I think they'll think better of picking on people next time. I just hope the lesson sticks. I hope so too. Kiku looked around, frowning. Where did Atsuko go? Oh, she left. That sucks. I was hoping to talk to her before she left. Maybe Kiku would catch up with Atsuko if she left now. Go after her, or it's a little late now. I know the characters, well, supposedly can get together, so I don't know if going after her would put them together since we're not dating and we're just friends. But I don't know if it's a little late now would be rude. I'm just gonna do it's a little late now, I guess. Well, Atsuko was probably upset. She'd be back in her room before Kiku could find her. I guess we'll have to see how she's doing later. I suppose so. I hope she's okay. We ended up going back to our original plan for the afternoon, but while we did homework together, I kept wondering if we could have gone after Atsuko. It was no use worrying, I eventually decided, but I felt a little awkward for the rest of the day. Week 12. Kiku called me to her room again, and so I went over to listen to her play. When I got there, she had a large stringed instrument of some kind. A cello, I think. Glad you could make it. This isn't actually mine. I'm borrowing it from a clubmate to fix it. I think the repairs are done, so I wanted to show off a bit before I gave it back. Okay. I smiled, though I felt a bit goofy doing so. I honestly didn't care what instrument it was, I just wanted to hear Kiku play it. That felt a little silly if I considered it for too long. Here we go. Kiku took the bow and touched it against the strings. Her face took on a focused expression that melted into her trance as she began to play. Everything else around me seemed to lose focus as I listened to Kiku play. I didn't know what she was playing, but it didn't really matter to me. After a few minutes of the song, she seemed to transition into something else. This music gradually became darker, more sinister. I shivered a bit as it reached a peak. Kiku stopped abruptly, and I realized that she had been watching me. Sorry, I wanted to test something. Test what? How you'd react if I played something less light and airy. I've played a lot of the same kind of music for you, and I wondered if maybe that was boring you. Also, I wanted to see how you'd react if I played something you found unsettling. She frowned, apparently ashamed at having done this test without permission. It's fine. I still liked it, even if it was a bit scary. I still should have asked you. I could have scared you off, experimenting on you without warning like that. Really, it's fine. Kiku sighed, but looked a bit relieved. I'll take your word for it. Thanks. She stood up. I need to bring this back. See you later? Yeah. I headed back to my room as Kiku went to give the cello back to her clubmate. I thought about the kinds of music she had played for me so far and wondered just how much more she was able to play. Week 13. When I got to Kiku's room to listen to her play, I sensed something different than usual. Hello? Kiku smiled, holding up a pair of harmonicas. Nervous about your debut? What do you mean? Kiku let me in, making sure I took the harmonica she gave me. I was thinking, you may not want to join the music club, but I think you'd still enjoy music more if you tried it for a bit. I won't force you or anything, but I think you should give something simple a shot, so I got an easy instrument for you to try. I looked at the harmonica in my hand, feeling nervous. I couldn't be as good as you. Kiku chuckled. We won't sound much different. These aren't very good harmonicas. Come on, let's do it together. 1, 2. She put her harmonica to her lips and briefly motioned for me to do the same before starting to play. I reluctantly held up the harmonica and blew through it, sliding my mouth along the instrument to make different sounds. Do that one again, and then... The two of us messed around with the harmonicas for a while. Kiku was so enthusiastic that I ended up feeling a bit excited too. At one point, it almost felt like a duet. One of us would play a little string of notes and the other would respond with their own. Eventually, I had to catch my breath after a long string of nonsense sounds. Kiku giggled and patted my shoulder. Well, what did you think? I still don't know how I could ever match you, but it was kind of fun. Kiku nodded as if that was the point. I won't force you to be a performer. There always needs to be a listener to make music worthwhile. But I wanted you to enjoy making music, even if only for a little bit. I did see why you enjoy this so much. I'm happy to hear that. Thanks for indulging me. I wondered if it was rude to do so, but I gave back the harmonica. I'm glad I could help. We agreed to go back to our usual arrangement for the next meeting, and I headed back to my room. Maybe I have a better understanding of Kiku and her relationship with music now. Week 14. There's only 2 weeks left. I think I messed up the romantic route, guys. I am sad. I started seeing flyers about a performance by the music club coming up this week. A few girls from my class have started mentioning it too. Sounds like people are interested in it. If nothing else, I should go see how Kiku does. I made a note of the time, hoping I wouldn't be too busy to go. The day of the performance came. The dining hall was rearranged to support an audience for the music club. There was a pretty big turnout. There were some empty seats, but it was a larger crowd than I had expected. The performance itself was fun. The music club did a bunch of different types of music, so it was interesting to see them switch styles so quickly. When it was over, I went over to the club members to see if I could talk to Kiku. Hey, Mika! Kiku walked over to me, smiling. I'm glad you showed up. I wasn't sure you'd have time. I wasn't going to miss a chance to see you play. Thanks! Kiku motioned towards her clubmate. So, what do you think? You've seen me play before, but you haven't seen much of the others yet. They did a great job. You must be a good teacher. Perhaps, but it's thanks to their hard work that they learn so well. Some of these girls have come a long way. It makes me happy to see how skilled they've become. We talked about the songs they played for a bit, but eventually she had to help her club clean up the temporary stage. I headed back to my room, feeling energized after listening to the music club. Week 15. Back to the stuff we skipped. But after calling this visual novel easy, I'm so sad that I messed up a romantic route. I don't know if there'll be another chance to do that, but I wouldn't think so since it's so close to the Christmas stuff and then the ending. When Kiku told me that she had some time for us to meet, she mentioned that she wanted to do something different today. I wasn't entirely sure what that meant, and I still couldn't quite guess when I showed up at her room. Not able to figure it out myself, I decided to ask Kiku when she let me in. So, what did you mean when you said you wanted to try something different? Kiku clasped her hands behind her back, an awkward look on her face. Well, you see, I realized that a lot of our time together involves me playing instruments for you. Recently, I've been thinking about that time you told me that I'm more than my music, but I'm not really sure what I am without music when I stop to think about it. So, I wanted to try hanging out with you, but without doing anything music related. It took me a moment, but I think I was able to piece together what Kiku meant. It seemed like she was worried she wasn't interesting enough as a person without her music. In that case, what would you like to do? I don't know. Aside from schoolwork, I spend most of my free time doing music-related things. I crossed my arms and tried to think. This is going to be difficult. Do you watch movies or TV shows? Not too often, really. Maybe we could try that. We can probably find something to watch at the library. Kiku fiddled with her hands, and I felt like there was a reason for her hesitation. Looking around, I realized she didn't have a TV in her room. Maybe we could watch in my room since you don't have a TV. Maybe another time. I don't want to make things too complicated for you. I don't know if I've ever seen Kiku this awkward before. She really was out of her element here. We could also play a card game or something like that. I think one of my friends may have some cards we can borrow. Are you sure? It's fine. I'll be right back. I went to get the cards, and before long we had them laid out on the floor of Kiku's room as we looked up games we could play. We could try this one. It apparently works well with 2 players. Okay, let's do that one. As we got to playing, Kiku's uncertainty faded until she was back to her normal self. I guess it was just because she had no idea what we were going to do together that made her so uncomfortable. I think you're going to win this round, but I figured something out. I might be able to beat you next time. We'll see about that. You're not the only one who's learned how to play. I felt a bit different to be doing normal things with Kiku rather than homework or listening to her play music, but I was having fun, and she seemed to enjoy changing things up a bit. Week 17. Did we skip this? Yeah, okay. I decided to send messages to each of my friends, seeing if they had any plans. After some effort, I managed to get a lot of them to agree to a party. We agreed to take the bus into town and buy presents for each other, then do the exchange on Christmas Eve. After deciding on the dining hall for the party location, I lay down on my bed to rest. Planning a party took a lot of work. I hope everyone has fun. The Christmas party came, and everyone that had agreed to come arrived to exchange their presents. Shuri was the first to open her gift. When she unwrapped it, she found a set of calligraphy brushes inside. Who bought this? Oh, that was me. A bit of a last-minute decision. Shuri nodded, though her smile looked a bit forced. Next was Kiyomi, who ended up unwrapping a makeup kit. Maybe my cousin will want this. Who is this from? I assumed that was a thing girls like to get as a present. There was a bit of tension in the air, so Kiku went for the gift she had selected. I wonder what's in this one. Opening the box, she pulled out a few measuring cups and other small kitchen supplies. I couldn't decide on just one. They're all pretty small, so I think it's still fair. Right, everyone? It's fine by me. Izumi flipped her own gift box around a bit to find the seam, then tore open the wrapping. Let's see here. She pulled out a set of socks. They looked like they were made specifically for cold weather. They were so thick. Those are for me. I tried to pick a size that would fit most of the people here. I might need these soon. My own socks are wearing out. Atsuko went next, taking the smallest box. I was a bit nervous since it was the one I bought. Opening it up, she spilled out some of the Christmas-themed candy into a palm of her hand. Not very creative, but could be worse. Who provided this present? That would be me. Thinking with your stomach, huh? Trying to grow big and strong? Izumi, come on. Not here. Nanami was poking at her box nervously, so I motioned for her to get started before Izumi teased me anymore. Inside Nanami's box, there were 2 sports brand energy bars and a DVD of some sports movie. It was meant to inspire whoever picked it to go out and join a sports team. I had a specific target in mind. Well, you missed. Some of the other girls looked confused, but I think I knew what Izumi meant. Thank you for the gift. I took a deep breath and slid my present closer to me. Only Shiori's present remained, if I was keeping track correctly. I wonder what Shiori bought. We'll see in just a moment. Opening the package, I found a copy of a novel from the Salvation series. I read it myself recently, so I wanted to share. This didn't really seem like something that fit Shiori's image. That looks like everything. Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Let's get some food, then we can call it a night. Based on their presents, it seemed like they just picked out stuff that they would like themselves instead of something that one of their friends would like. Big oof. After getting something to eat, we broke into smaller groups to chat for a bit. Eventually, though, it was down to me, Izumi, and Kiyomi. You made a lot of interesting friends this semester, Himika. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected you to hang out with some of these girls. Is it really that strange? Izumi shrugged. Maybe not, but it seems like you branched out more than you usually do. Kiyomi rubbed her chin. I wonder... Wonder what? Was it because you were trying to find a girlfriend? That's exactly what I was doing, Kiyomi, and I failed. How dare you? I felt my face go hot, and my mouth didn't move right. Kiyomi only noticed that I didn't respond. How did that go, by the way? I told you. It wasn't like that. I was just thinking out loud. Maybe you were being more honest with yourself than usual. Izumi. Kiyomi fixed her glasses. Well, you're still young. I'm sure you'll find someone. Someday. Come on. Why are you two so obsessed with this? Kiyomi and Izumi looked at each other, then grinned. Well, we were kind of hoping you'd get a girlfriend. I was going to make a bet on it, but Kiyomi and I wanted the same thing, so it fell through. You almost cost us top yen, Himika. We both would have lost a bet like that. I hid my face behind my hands. You two are so mean. And that's pretty much how my Christmas party ended. I made a lot of new friends this term. Even so, I guess Kiyomi and Izumi were right. I didn't end up finding a girlfriend yet. Oh well, I can always try again in spring. For now, I'll just enjoy having friends like these. And I got the Dateless achievement. Well, at least I got that. But overall, the friend ending is interesting to see instead of just having romantic endings. I'm probably not going to do Kiko's romantic route, but we'll see. It wasn't too bad. But I'm so sad. After I've said multiple times, it wasn't hard to do this game. I didn't get a romantic ending, and there's no after story because I didn't get a romantic ending. Well, what can you do? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!